On today's episode of Audit Austin Code Compliance, we're actually going to expand our net, and I'm going to show you that what happens when you turn something into the Office of the City Auditor. And so, if you've been following my post, the Austin Code Department will not police themselves, and they often just say there's nothing wrong here and look the other way. So the Office of the City Auditor was created by Austin City Charter to assist the City of Austin Council, the citizens, and city management in establishing accountability, transparency, and a culture of continuous improvement in city operations and city delivery. To achieve this mission, we conduct performance audits, complete special projects, and investigate reports of fraud, waste, or abuse. So, if you don't have any luck going to a department head, you can go to the Office of the City Auditor, take in a complaint if it involves fraud, waste, or abuse, and by city charter, they're supposed to investigate it. And that's exactly what I did. And you'll never guess what happened. There's a code inspector by the name of Tovar, who I've done a video on before. She's the one that came by my house and tried to sandbag me with a work without a permit. It's the third time she'd been to my property. All three cases were bogus. The third one was the right hand didn't know what the left hand was doing. The city apologized to me and made the thing go away. So what I did is I started looking into her background. I wanted to learn more about Tovar. And all City of Austin employees, all of their vehicles have a GPS on them that tracks where they go every day. Now, this happened a couple of years ago because inspectors from the Planning and Review Department were caught falsifying their case logs. One guy went out and he sat down one morning at 6:30 and he signed off on several electrical inspections done at elementary schools. And the news media reported the story. Supposedly he traveled like 124 miles in 36 minutes. That's how long it took him to go to each one of those case logs and pencil whip his reports. And so I got a hold of Tovar's GPS records for her car, her work vehicle, her timesheets, and a lot of other things that are available to open records, and I started looking at them. So here you can see that on the upper left here, we have the duration of a stop, the address of the stop, the start time, and the end time. And so, for example, if on January the 12th of 2017 at 7:36 in the morning till January the 12th at 7:40 in the morning, she was at 1110 Flora Street. That is approximately from 7:36 to 7:40, 4 minutes. And you can look at the stop log and you can see that that's how this thing is set up. What I've done is I've flagged here. Now, you can see that part of the information is missing here through open records. Obviously, the thing is functioning well, but for some reason, when I received my documents, they had edited out some of this information. Look here at 2400 Taos Boulevard. It says that she was there for 12 minutes and 4 seconds, but when you look through the lines here, she was there at 12:03 in the afternoon and left at 1, which is 1300, 15. So she was there for an hour and 12 minutes, but yet the hour is missing from this part of the log. So I was wondering what is at 2400 Taos Boulevard that somebody would be at for an hour and 12 minutes. And it took me here. 2400 Taos Boulevard is at 290 in Ben White, right here, and it is the home of the Austin Telco Federal Credit Union. So it's not uncommon that perhaps a credit union might have some code violations going on, and she's there conducting business for an hour and 12 minutes. So you can go to the city's website here, Austin Code and Permit Tracker. It's 2400 Taos Boulevard here, and there are no code violations. The last building permit was July the 2nd of 2013. So what does a code inspector have business doing at Austin Telco Federal Credit Union for an hour plus time? That was a concern to me. This is one of the things I turned in to the audit department. And again, she's allowed a lunch break. She was there for an hour and 12 minutes. The logical question is, why does her vehicle GPS show that that car is parked at the Austin Telco Federal Credit Union if there are no active permits and no active code enforcement actions going on there? Now, she does get a 30-minute lunch, but the car was there for an hour and 12 minutes. That's 42 minutes longer than her lunch break. Could she possibly be conducting personal business on city time? Now, the following day, again, when we're looking at these timesheets, she's at Festival Beach at 8:07 in the morning and leaves at 8:11. Approximately 4 minutes. This thing will round it up time a little bit. From 8:11, it doesn't show where she is from 8:11 until 11:29. There are huge gaps in here. You can see that in the morning, her car starts off at 7 o'clock in the morning, to 7:12, 7:13, 7:14, 7:22, 7:26, and they've eliminated all of this information here. Is she using her car for personal business early in the morning, and somebody just wanted to eliminate that information from the log? So here on the 13th at 11:29 in the morning until 12:38, that's a little bit over an hour, from 11:29 to 12:38, her car is parked at 4705 East Bend White. And again, she's entitled to a lunch, but not an hour and some odd minutes for a lunch. Let's take a look at what is at 4705 East Bend White. 4705 East Bend White is the Catfish Parlor. Here it is here. It's by Burleson Road. And you can see Catfish Parlor, order online. And their address is 4705 East Bend White Boulevard. Let's take a look at Austin Code Case Tracker. And it does show 4705 East Bend White Boulevard. It is the Catfish Parlor. December 16th of 2004, they had a freestanding sign outside. They had to get electrical permit for. But again, there's only one code violation going on here, and it's a code case here, and it's from April the 1st of 2015. It was a property abatement. When she was there on January the 13th of 2017, there was no active code cases. There's no active permits going on. She is there for a little over an hour having lunch, most likely. There's no code cases. And again, she gets a 30-minute lunch. But she's there from 11:29 to 12:38. So basically an hour and 7 minutes between the time the car stopped and the car took off again. This is a big problem. This is what I took to the city auditor. It was this and much, much more. Here's a list of the things that I gave to the city auditor. And you can see the list here. It starts off at 1/5 of 2017. There's a lot of addresses that are common. Festival Beach, Nash Hernandez. These are all City of Austin locations that she goes to. For the most time, her car is stopped 1 minute, 8 minutes, 3 minutes, 1 minute. She's driving by in her territory looking at locations. We know that she was 43 minutes and 12 seconds at 136 Slaughter Lane. That is the Bill Miller Barbecue. Again, she's exceeding her 30-minute lunch time. you start to see a pattern building here. There are big gaps in the time frames. 2 hours are missing. The location's been edited out here. 24 minutes at Starbucks Coffee. That's not a problem. 30 minutes at La Madeleine. We get to see where she eats lunch all the time. Again, here's the Bill Miller barbecue again. 25 minutes. So you start to see the missing time here. She likes going to Popeyes. What I had to do was I had to go off this original list here and convert everything onto a spreadsheet that I could easily work with, and then I could make notes on. And that's exactly what I gave the city auditor. I gave them this sheet of paper. And what do you think the city auditor told me? Okay, this is a letter. I followed up with them and I said, hey, it's been about 2 months. Can you tell me whatever happened to my complaint? And they said, oh, we have referred it to the code department. I go, what do you mean you referred it to the code department? And they go, well, we couldn't find anything, so we're going to let them handle it. Again, we've just circled back. They want to let the fox investigate the hen house and not be the oversight that they promised on their website. They want transparency, they want accountability, but yet they didn't do an investigation. So here's an email that I got through Open Records. A young man by the name of Nathan Wiebe or whatever. He writes a letter to Coral Wright. He includes Elaine Hart, the assistant city manager, and all kinds of other people, and says they recently received multiple allegations from Dale Flat, yaddy-daddy-daddy. I allege that Alicia Tovar was stealing time from the city by taking excessive long lunch breaks and spending her time running personal errands. I speculated that the GPS data that I had received as a result of multiple PIRs indicated that she was taking long lunches, visiting areas that didn't have open cases. I just showed you all of that. They state that they conducted a limited due diligence on the timesheet theft allegations and did not find predication to open an investigation. I provided them with the PIRs. I showed them the time sheets, everything, and he says, no, we don't find anything. They decided that they believe it's better that the issues are addressed by the Austin Code Department, and they don't plan on issuing a report on this matter. However, they want to request a report on the final disposition so they can complete and close their files. He is the chief of investigations for the City of Austin Auditor's Integrity Unit. I just showed you the documents. I showed you the addresses, just as I showed it to him. It's very clear he didn't want to do an investigation. He basically just pencil whipped it. In his own words, he conducted a limited due diligence on the timesheet. On the timesheets and the theft allegations. He didn't want to do it. The last thing he wants to do is to show that the city is covering up for employees that are stealing time. This is a problem, gang. When the city auditor's own investigators, the chief of the city audit department, decides he's not going to investigate, even though the information is right there in front of him. I mean, it was very clear to anybody that looked at it that this is what was going on. He never once called me up and said, hey, Mr. Flat, I'm having a hard time understanding this data, how you presented it to me. Could you by chance come in and meet with me so we can go over it? Nope. He decided just to close this thing, hand it all over to the code department. The code department, now they're supposedly investigators, they decided they weren't going to deal with it. They decided, wait a minute, we're going to let human resources deal with it. Let's take a look at what their job description is. A human resources supervisor was assigned this, and we're going to sit down and have a talk sometime in September. I'm getting all my ducks again in a row. Human resources are basically, she determines goals and objectives, develops, implements, administrators. There's nothing in her job description that says she's investigate fraud or theft of time. Human resources is somebody like if you falsify your case logs, or if employees have another problem with an employee, they're supposed to mitigate those things. They're not supposed to come in here and listen to criminal complaints from citizens about city employees. Nothing in here deals with that. So again, the city of Austin treats this hot potato of theft and fraud inside of the code department just by passing the potato to somebody else. And then they go, oh, wait a minute, HR looked at it and we didn't find anything wrong, even though the data can stare them straight in the face. The city of Austin has a corporate culture of just wanting to make things go away and not addressing the issues. So what's the next step? Well, I've had to contact the Attorney General's office of the state of Texas because I asked to see a copy of the investigation that the City Auditor did, and they refused to give it to me. They won't even give me the audio recording of when I sat down and met with them and laid out all the facts. They want to withhold that from me because they kind of figured out what's going to happen. It'll end up on a video just like this, and I'll show that I did, in fact, present them with enough data, and they decided just to pencil whip it and look the other way and let the crime go unpunished. Keep watching. I'll let you know how it turns out.